What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. Today we're gonna talk about. I'm gonna tell you a story about somebody. I was thinking, it's Thanksgiving. It's a time for family, time to make memories, and I was like, do I do a Thanksgiving video? Nope, not me. So the last few days, I was running around everywhere. I was in Los. I was out of state. I was going different places, doing different things, trying to help the channel grow, trying to give you guys stuff. But when I do that, on the short term, it hurts the channel in the short term. In the long term, it should be great. And I have fun, and you guys see I'm looser, But today is not gonna be one of them loose videos. Today I'm gonna give you another glimpse into stuff behind the walls. And when I tell these type of stories, this is not the kind of story that I'm comfortable with telling, but I think it's important. It's a life lesson, and just a glimpse into how things really are. Okay, so this individual is no longer alive, from my understanding. And so for that reason, I'm going to use his name, but I'm not going to say where he's from. Okay. And maybe if you guys want, because I want to do something with Free Robert's World on this channel at least once a week. We had discussed that, and you guys said you wanted a part 2 from last time. And he knows the same individual, met him. And maybe that would be one of the topics we discuss. I don't know, but let's get into it. So when if you go back to the video with me and Robert from last week, he talked about when the CDC did the first I don't even remember what the title of the program was that they called it, but they started letting out a wave of guys that had been validated and been in the shoe forever and hadn't had a write-up in a long time. And they kicked them. Oh, they called it a 7-year inactive. That's what they called it. You hadn't had a write-up in at least 7 years. And they would review C-files, and they were letting out a handful of people. And it was basically one of those things where the CDC was trying to get the civil rights people off their ass. Like, okay, let's release some of these guys that we know are going to do something, so that way it'll shut them down and they can't say shit. That's basically what they wanted to do. So when Robert said that a handful of dudes came down from the Bay, there was one individual in that crew named Rubio. Rubio had been down, I believe, since like 1983, 84, around that time. Rubio had put in a lot of work. Very, very intelligent individual. Those of you that if you have any of the old street laws, those of you that save magazines and stuff, right, that collect magazines, there's in street law, I believe it was street law, was Oye. It might have been Open Your Eyes magazine. Might have been, I think it was Oye, Open Your Eyes. Anybody that has those, go and check them out. And there's a section in there, and it's called El Pinto Viejo's Corner. Rubio used to write that. Rubio was very brilliant. He could write screenplays, movies, books. He created that character, El Pinto Viejo's Corner. He could write music. Prison is full of talented people, brilliant people. But it's people with flaws, severe flaws. And when they were young, didn't have a way or didn't have the tools to get rid of their self-doubt, insecurities, whatever it was, in a positive way. And that's why they wound up in prison. That's why I wound up in prison. So anyways, Rubio had a life sentence, was validated. He was part of that crew that came down, and they landed on B facility. Now, keep in mind, Rubio was in very good standings. Rubio had gotten snatched up, I don't know when, but he had been in Pelican Bay Shoe for a very long time. Now, it's like me having gotten arrested in 1993 and then getting out in 2017. I knew the streets from 1993. That is not what I landed in 2017. The same goes for prison. But like I always tell you guys, prison is just like the streets, but it's more concentrated. It's a smaller world. So Rubio and the guys that he came down with, I believe there were 7 of them, they were used to a certain way of doing time, a certain way of people conducting themselves towards each other as well as other factions. They had a different set of expectations, and they also had an agenda that they left Pelican Bay with, right? So they get to New Folsom, they land on B facility. Those of us that were there around that same time, this was in around 2000, 2001, around that time, right, when they came down. And you know that B facility in New Folsom was always known as the gangster yard, right? But at that time, there was a lot of turmoil amongst the Southern Raza, the leadership there. There was a lot of turnover when they instituted the new system. There was a lot of turnover there, a lot of turmoil, a lot of spotlight, right? Well, prior to that system being enacted, is when Rubio and them came down, and things weren't up to par as far as their expectations and their history in the prison system, right? Some things needed to be addressed, and I've spoken about, and other channels have spoken about. When it used to be the llavero system, you had people that had a God complex. They were nobody. But because they were given some authority, the overall authority, one individual was, and they 9 times out of 10 handpicked people to put around them that were going to be yes men. They didn't want anybody that's going to say no. They wanted somebody around them that was going to say yes, to boost their ego. And so you would have people like that with a God complex. Imagine that. Vatos come into their area of operation, we'll call it. And these vatos that are coming in have way more experience, way more time in, and way more juice. But see, prison is treacherous. It's who gets off first as far as the politicking. So Rubio and his crew got there, and things were not running right. And they weren't the type to be like, hey, you come here, man. I need you to go and do this. No, they were the type where they did it themselves, right? So Rubio wound up whacking somebody. Okay. Prior to that, he had one of his camaradas that came whacked an individual, and it was said that Rubio was the one that put it on him, that said, hey, get him. And then Rubio got, into his shit. Then he went to Ad Seg and he whacked somebody else. And they picked up the case. They picked up the case on him, which was, it was like they never picked up any of mine. Sometimes it was like a rolling thing, right? Where, at a certain point, they don't pick up any cases at a certain joint. And then all of a sudden they're picking up everything, right? And let me see, that button don't even work no more. Well, I'm just going to keep it all the way real. The individual that felt Rubio had him hit, his mother had connections. And it reminds me of the Bible. When I don't remember who she was. Those of you that are way more knowledgeable than me on the Bible will know. But when that woman came and they asked I think Pilate or whoever it was asked, what do you want? I don't know. It might not even be Pilate, but they asked, what do you want? She said, the only thing in the world I want is John the Baptist's head on a platter. That's what happened here. This woman said, I don't ask you guys for nothing. I never ask for anything at all. Let you guys do your thing. I'm not going to get into all the what that entitles or entails. But she said the one thing I want is Rubio's head. So they said, you got it. Rubio did nothing wrong. In the grand scheme of things, within the reglas, within the expectations, he did right. The individual that got hit was wrong. And when he got hit, they had his celly hit him. Right? Him and his celly were friends. And it was one of those things where it was like kill two birds with one stone. They had his celly hit him. So what did his celly do? He made sure he didn't hit nothing vital. He hit him, but he made sure he didn't hit nothing vital. And then when the Hura was coming by for count, that individual blocked the window to where he couldn't see the celly, had his arms like this leaning on the fucking window with a shirt off, and you could see the holes in him leaking. New Folsom and Pelican Bay were those type of prisons that the Hura don't want to do paperwork. So the Hura saw him and he was like, hey, get out of the way. I got to see your celly. Saw celly and kept walking for his count. And the individual that had got whacked kicked the door. I mean, we all read the paperwork. He kicked the door. Boom. And he called out his cell number and said, hey, can you come back over here? Hura comes back over. He's on the door again like this. So now the Hura's like, okay, you want my fucking attention now. Pulls him out. He goes through the oil. Goes through the medical, and then his celly, gets snatched up for it. That's a no-no. You can't kick the door like that. You don't show the Hura. You patch yourself up. Your celly did it. You whack your celly. You do something. But the rules are clear. And I want you guys to pay attention to this. Those of you that want to be tough guys and, people that throw these certain labels around and people that identify themselves with a certain label. That label that you guys throw around, if you have earned it and you get whacked and the Huras don't see it and you're able to make it back to your cell, you are supposed to shut your fucking mouth, patch yourself up, and handle your business. You do not ask for medical attention. You don't ask for any assistance whatsoever. So that's why I tell people, you guys throw this shit around, you don't know what it means, man. You don't know what's expected of you. Especially when people are out here on the streets and they're claiming to be certain things, but yet they're fucking banging away on their keyboards on social media. People who are really in that lifestyle, they're not doing that shit. They don't even want to hear about it. They're focused on the things that they are obligated to do. But anyways, so that's what this vato did. It was kind of expected that was going to be what he was going to do. A lot of people felt like he had connections that he had not earned himself, and that if he was touched, this type of shit would happen. And they were proven right. But they misjudged the connections that he had. And so people in Rubio's crew started getting targeted. Rubio was in oil. And I'm going to keep it real. And hopefully, look, I'm just going to keep it real. Everybody in the oil had handcuff keys. Everybody. I'm not going to tell you how we made them. Those of you that know. But I know for a fact, all the Southerners and all the whites had handcuff keys. There were so many of them that I remember going into the yard one day, the little dog runs, the little kennels where it's only you and your celly, if you have a celly. And there was a handcuff key on the toilet because somebody had bird bath after they busted down. They bird bathed out there. And so I had to holler in, hey, who was in this tank? Who was in this cage? So-and-so. And I figured, and it was a skin. And he was like, hey, man. And I was like, I got it. Took it back in and got it to him. Now, everybody had handcuff keys. And Rubio was very much liked. There was a small pocket of people back there in Ad Seg that were politicking against him still, that were trying to further it. But that was because of selfish reasons. It's because they were fucking up. And they knew if Rubio can get his way out of this jam, he would be able to expose to the legends who these cats really were. And so they were fighting. They were plotting with other people, whoever they could, to keep this man silenced, to push this man out. But because more people liked him than hated him, he went to court one day with other vatos. They put the two other vatos in the tank with him. Remember, there's a green light on Rubio. They put these other vatos in the tank with them. These vatos, we all knew for a fact, had handcuff keys. But they had love for Rubio. And they did something that was very dangerous for them, but they were trying to help Rubio. Instead of coming out of the cuffs, one of them pulled out a razor while still cuffed and cut Rubio's arm, like close to the wrist. And a lot of people would say that that's a PC move. And that's for others to judge. But what they had done there is they had basically let Rubio know, hey, you're done. And that also lets the Juras know he's done. That individual that did that knowing, hey, they might fuck around and hit him next. But he had love for Rubio, and that was his way of basically trying to save him and put him on his feet, put him on his toes. So Rubio was single cell status after that. And I remember there was another vato in his crew. He had already flipped. We weren't sure yet. We kind of knew, but we weren't sure yet. And he came to the back. He had been in A-yard Ad Seg, which that's when people were like, why would he go there? He was over here with everybody else. I happened to be out there in the dog kennels that day. And this vato, they made sure to put him in the cage next to Rubio. And he's asking Rubio, he's telling Rubio, hey, homie, they touched you, hey, you're done, Holmes. And Rubio's like, shit, I ain't done. Fuck you talking about? And that individual said, so what do you plan on doing, homie? And Rubio said, killing the first vato they put in my cell. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm walking laps, and I'm listening. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. Once I had went back to Ad Seg, see, when I was on C facility doing my thing, I could not help Rubio. He has to help himself. We had a crew that was helping Rubio, trying to help him. Once I got snatched up and I wound up in C facility, from C facility to Ad Seg, I wound up right there with him, same row. And I asked him, what's going on with so-and-so, so-and-so? They were all part of the same crew as us. And he said they were warned. Anybody helping is going to wind up in the same boat. And I said, well, what's right is right, Holmes, and what's wrong is wrong. And I tried to help this guy. I tried. But we had a crew of dudes that were coming back and forth from Corcoran Shoe to New Folsom. If anybody fished with Rubio, they would go tell on him. Anybody say, "Que hubo, buenos días," they would go back to Corcoran and tell on him. So what I did is I got at who I had to get at, and I said, look, I want to fix things. I want to see if it's fixable, if it can be done, if you can reach out to so-and-so, because everybody knew who had done what as far as the legends. Is it possible that we can talk to them and it can be fixed? Would it be? And I was told we're gonna work on it. But then I had to get more cover. And I'm going to be honest with the words I used. I told one of the legends that I was under, I said, listen, got these fucking ratas running back and forth to Corcoran Shoe. And I explained everything that was going on. Mind you, everything's coded, but the code is clear, right? And unfortunately, I was finally told, can't help him. He's on his own. There's really not much to add, man. We wound up in the same pod in the shoe together. And I couldn't even tell my friend, I can't help you no more. You're on your own. Because then I would have been out of line. Like I said, I heard he passed away. I don't know how. I don't know if he ever fixed it. Hopefully he did, man. But that's a glimpse. Those of you tough guys, those of you know-it-alls, those of you that are politicking on YouTube from the comment section, that do not make a channel, do not show your face on a channel. You will not make a channel. You don't even your little picture is you guys got to stop that, man. If you heard some stories and you think you know what time it is in the joint, I promise you don't. If you were on a level 1 and level 2 and you heard some stories, but you think because you were in a level 1 or level 2, you don't know. That shit is not for you, man. That shit is for the birds. I wanted to put this story out just to give you a glimpse, man. Anyone who thinks being a gangster is feed, man. Being a gangster is, there's a future in it. Don't try to prove it. You're going to fail. And you're going to fail hard. Like I said, Rubio never fucked up. But he got washed up. Other vatos that were fucking up, like women, instead of saying, hey, let me sell up with you, when they had the opportunity, instead of being men, grabbing their nuts and saying, hey, Holmes, what's up, homie? I feel like we got a personal issue. Go get your shit, I'll get mine. No. They huddled up. Let's write this. Let's write that. Anyways, that's my video for today, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them. Also, happy holidays. I'm out.